Hey everyone, welcome back. Tonight I've got two new stories for you, both a little dark, a little tragic, and definitely not what you'd expect. They're different in tone, but share that same haunting vibe you guys love, so get comfortable, turn down the lights, and let's dive in. First story, The Last Letter. Part 1.
I never believed one piece of paper could change my entire life. But that was before I found the envelope hidden beneath the floorboard of my old bedroom. It had been years since I'd stepped inside that house. After my father passed away, I swore I'd never return. The memories were too heavy, the silence too suffocating. But one rainy afternoon, sorting through the dust and forgotten boxes, I heard the hollow creak of wood under my feet. Curious, I pried it open, and there it was. The envelope was yellowed with age, the handwriting instantly recognizable. Daniel, my first love. The boy who had vanished without a word a decade ago. My heart pounded as I tore it open. His words spilled out in shaky ink. If you're reading this, it means I didn't make it. Please, don't hate me. I never wanted to leave you this way. I froze. My vision blurred as the rain outside hammered against the glass. Daniel wasn't just my first love. He was my entire world back then. He was the boy who walked me home after school. The one who swore we'd leave this small town together, the one who promised forever under the stars. But one morning, he was gone. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. And now here was a letter written in his voice confessing what exactly? Regret? Fear? A warning? I kept reading, my hands trembling. I wish I could tell you everything, but I can't put it all here. If you really want the truth, look where it all began. Under the old oak tree, the night we carved our initials. I buried something there, something you need to see. The letter ended abruptly, smudged with what looked like water stains, or maybe tears. I sank to the floor, the letter pressed to my chest. For 10 years, I had lived with the ache of not knowing why he left, why he broke me in silence. And now, suddenly, there was a trail of breadcrumbs leading straight back into the past. The rain kept falling, and I couldn't help but wonder, was I ready to uncover the truth Daniel had buried with him? The next morning, I couldn't wait any longer. I grabbed an old flashlight, my boots, and a coat soaked from the rain the day before. Every step toward the oak tree felt heavier than the last, like the past itself was pressing down on me. The tree stood at the edge of the abandoned field, its branches gnarled and black against the gray morning sky. My fingers traced the initials we carved together, almost fading into the bark. A reminder that some promises, no matter how deep, are fragile. I dropped to my knees, digging where he had said. The soil was cold, damp, reluctant to give up its secret. And then my fingers brushed something solid, a small, rusted tin box. My hands shook as I pulled it free. Inside was another letter, this one folded neatly, accompanied by a silver locket. I opened the letter first. If you're reading this, I need you to understand. I never stopped loving you. But life had other plans. There were things I could never tell you, things I couldn't protect you from. This locket, it belonged to her, the girl I failed. You deserved the truth, and I hope one day you can forgive me. My breath caught. Her? I whispered to the wind. My chest tightened as I opened the locket. Inside was a tiny photograph of a girl I didn't recognize, smiling, innocent, unaware of the storm surrounding her life. I sank against the tree, clutching both the locket and the letter. Memories of Daniel flooded me, his laughter, his warmth, the promises we made. And now a new layer of pain, his secret, hidden for years, resurfacing in the cold morning light. I wanted to scream, to demand answers from a ghost who couldn't hear me. But all I could do was sit there, the weight of his silence pressing down, realizing that some truths hurt more than lies. The air grew colder, and I knew I had to keep going. There was one last part of his message, one final truth buried with him, and somewhere deep down, I feared I wasn't ready for it. I spent the rest of the days staring at the locket, turning it over in my hands. Every tick of the clock felt like a drumbeat echoing the years I'd lost. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in bruised purples and oranges. And still I couldn't move. Finally, I forced myself to read the last line of his first letter again. "If you really want the truth, look where it all began, under the old oak tree, the night we carved our initials. I buried something there, something you need to see, something I hadn't yet understood." My heart pounded as I dug again, desperately, almost frantically. The soil gave way to another small tin box, smaller than the first. Inside, another letter. This one, heavier, thicker, filled with handwriting I recognized immediately. Daniel's, but different, urgent, frantic. I never meant for any of this to happen. I tried to fix it, but it was too late. She didn't make it, and it was my fault. I buried her hope along with mine. I didn't run from you because I didn't love you. I ran because I was terrified that telling you the truth would destroy you, and I couldn't bear the thought of your heartbreak. I love you still. I'm so sorry. My vision blurred. The locket, the photograph, the letters, they were pieces of a puzzle I wasn't sure I wanted to finish. But the truth was undeniable. Daniel had carried a secret for all those years, one that had cost a life, and the burden of his choices had shaped both of ours forever. I sank to the ground beneath the oak tree, the weight of his words pressing into my chest. The wind whispered through the branches as if carrying his apology across the empty field. I realized then that some love stories never end the way you imagine. They leave you with memories, regrets, and a hollow ache that no letter could ever fully soothe. The locket closed in my trembling hands. I whispered his name into the darkening sky. "Daniel, I forgive you." And yet forgiveness felt hollow, because some truths, no matter how finely uncovered, leave scars that time cannot heal.
Second story, Shattered Vows.
The night started like any other. The streets glimmered wet with rain, neon signs reflecting in puddles like fractured glass. Julia tightened her coat around her, holding Mark's hand as they walked home from the small dinner party. They laughed, but the laughter didn't reach their eyes. Something had shifted between them this week. Small things, unspoken, but heavy. When they arrived at their apartment, the elevator stuck between floors. Mark muttered under his breath, pressing buttons, but the doors wouldn't budge. Julia's heart thumped. Claustrophobia, fear, an instinctive warning. Then the lights flickered. A muffled sound echoed from the shaft. A creak, a whisper of movement, something metallic. Julia froze. "Mark, did you hear that?" He nodded, face pale. Probably just the building settling. Old pipes. But it didn't sound like pipes. It sounded deliberate. Someone, or something, was in there. Hours, or maybe minutes, passed in the darkness. Then came the first scream, muffled, distorted, echoing through the shaft. Julia grabbed Mark's arm. Their panic collided, minds racing. The doors finally shuttered open, but the hallway was empty. Too quiet, too clean. They hurried to their apartment. The door was ajar, the lock broken, papers scattered, photographs torn. And in the center of the living room, a single object, a small rusted music box, spinning slowly on the floor, playing a melody Julia didn't recognize, but somehow knew. Mark bent down, examining it. I don't know how this got here. Julia's hands trembled as she lifted the lid. Inside, a folded piece of paper, soaked at the edges, scribbled in a hasty, almost frantic hand. Some vows are meant to be broken. Some truths are meant to stay buried. The words burned into her mind. Julia looked at Mark. His eyes mirrored her own fear, but also a flicker of guilt, something he hadn't yet shared. And just as she was about to speak, the music stopped. The silence that followed was heavier than the rain outside, filled with the sense that this was only the beginning. The next morning, the city felt different. Julia couldn't shake the weight of the note, the music box, the elevator incident. Something was off, as if the world itself had shifted around them. Mark tried to act normal, pouring coffee, checking emails. But Julia noticed the way his hands trembled when he thought she wasn't looking. There was a story he wasn't telling, and she feared it wasn't just about the music box. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. No message, just a location pinned on the map. The old factory by the river, abandoned for years. "Mark, this is the same place the note mentioned," she whispered. He shook his head. "We shouldn't go there. It's dangerous." But Julia's curiosity overpowered her fear. By evening, they were driving through rain-slick streets, headlights cutting through the fog. The factory loomed, dark and silent, shadows crawling across broken windows. Inside, the air was thick with decay. Every step echoed. Then she saw it. Footprints, fresh, leading to a room with a faint light spilling from under the door. Mark stopped. "Julia, maybe we should leave." But she opened it anyway. Inside, dozens of music boxes, all spinning, all playing different, haunting melodies. And in the center, a figure hunched over something on the floor. The moment the figure turned, Julia froze. Her blood ran cold. It was Mark, or at least it looked like him. His eyes were hollow, distant, as if someone else had taken control. Around him were papers, photos, newspaper clippings, all about them. Their life, their routines, secrets they hadn't even realized were noticed. Then he spoke, in a voice that was both his and not his. "You shouldn't have come. Some things aren't meant to be known." Julia stumbled back. The room seemed to spin, the music boxes clanging louder, overlapping, dissonant. Panic gripped her, the line between reality and nightmare blurred. And then the first glass shattered, startling them both. The figure lunged, and Julia barely dodged, heart hammering. This wasn't just mystery. It was a trap, a game, and somehow they were in the middle of it. The music stopped abruptly. Silence. But the warning lingered. The real danger was only beginning. Julia's chest heaved as she stumbled backward, staring at the figure that looked like Mark but wasn't. The music boxes lay scattered around, their melodies discordant, warping the air into something suffocating. Her mind raced. How could this happen? How had their ordinary life twisted into this nightmare? The figure stepped closer, and she saw it clearly now. It was him, but something inside had broken. His eyes, once warm and familiar, were hollow, filled with fear and obsession. He raised a hand, trembling, toward another music box. "You don't understand," he whispered, voice shaking. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. I tried to stop it, but—" The words cut off as the floor beneath them groaned. Julia froze. The old factory wasn't stable. The beams were rotten, the floorboards ready to give way. She realized with horror that the whole building could collapse at any moment. Mark, or what he had become, suddenly lunged toward her. She ducked, barely catching herself as a splintered board cracked where she had been standing. The music boxes flew in every direction, shattering, the sound now a cacophony of broken glass and twisted metal. "Julia, run!" Mark's real voice pierced the chaos. For a moment, clarity returned. The man before her wasn't entirely lost. He was trying to save her. They sprinted through the factory, dodging falling debris, the walls trembling as the structure protested. The exit loomed ahead, but a massive beam fell behind them, trapping any thought of retreat. They burst into the rain-soaked street, gasping, drenched, hearts hammering. And then she saw it. Through the shattered window of the factory, a part of the roof collapsed entirely, burying the twisted, broken remnants of the music boxes and the figure she had thought she knew. Mark turned to her, face pale, eyes haunted. I... I'm so sorry, he whispered. I couldn't stop it. Julia sank to her knees, the rain mingling with tears. They had escaped, yes, but something irretrievable had been lost that night. Not just the music boxes, not just the building, but the fragile illusion of safety, of normal life, of trust in their world. Some tragedies leave no closure, no answers, only the hollow ache of survival and the knowledge that life can twist in unimaginable ways, leaving you with scars you'll carry forever.